sir.
Okay. Okay. The meeting will come to order. For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Law is back on the east wall here in this room. If you need to read that, it's back there. We'll have roll call.
Harris,
Here.
Reisig,
Here.
Meyer, Blue,
Here.
Parsley.
Here.
We were informed that Mr. Meyer wouldn't be here this evening, so just be aware of that. All right, if you'd all stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I'd like to mention a few things. I want to say welcome to everyone that's here. We appreciate any visitors or whoever that maybe haven't been here before. I want to issue a reminder to all that this meeting is being recorded. It'll be broadcast at a later date. And so with that, I want to remind everyone, if you want to speak, we do want you to come forward to the microphone so that the recording can pick up your voice and it can be heard later on when it's broadcast. When you're recognized and come forward, we need for you to give us your name for the record and spell your name so that the county clerk can get her minutes correct. Remember, there's no swearing or any other inappropriate language. We also need to be sure and check our cell phones. If you would, either turn them on silent or off in an effort to avoid disruption. I want to remind the commissioners as well to try and speak directly into our microphones clearly and loud enough so that again, our voices can be heard when the recording is played back. To me, the agenda looks fairly short this evening, and but depending on how long it goes, we may take a break in the middle if I feel that we need one, or if any of the commissioners let me know they need a break. And I think that's it for the announcements. The next item is approval of the agenda and consider any modifications.
I move to approve the agenda as written with the flexibility of the chair if you need to take a break or anything like that.
All right,
I'll second that.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. Want to remind everyone that the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session if deemed necessary this evening. We do not have any executive sessions scheduled, but we always reserve the right to go into one if at some point in time during the meeting we feel that it would be necessary. And we always look to the assistance of our civil attorney, Jason Ocean, who's here. So we'll go to the next item. The next item is the consent agenda. These items under the consent agenda are intended to be adopted by one action unless any one of the commissioners feel that they should pull any of these out separately. So I'd ask if there's any thoughts or discussion on this item.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as written. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Motion's carried. The next item is Board of Equalization. So we need to have a motion to go into the Board of Equalization.
I move that we go into Board of Equalization.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to go into Board of Equalization. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Russ?
Russ, looks like yours didn't go.
Just thinking.
You have 4 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. So the only item under Board of Equalization tonight is to receive the tax list corrections.
Singular?
What's that? Yeah, there's only one, and we normally do these without discussion, unless someone has something that they wanna question or talk about with this item. We normally don't have a presentation. Any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the tax list correction.
Okay? So, yeah, we have one this evening. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion and a second to approve the tax list correction. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Motion's carried. Need a motion to go out of Board of Equalization.
So,
Aye.
Okay, so we have a motion from Matt. Russ, are you seconding it then? Alright. So we have a motion and a second to go out of Board of Equalization. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, motion's carried. The next item is our road and bridge items. Steve?
Good afternoon. It's December, end of the year again, so this is the usual time we have to send in our certification that you have been employed a licensed highway superintendent for the year 2025. So the first thing before you is the resolution that you all need to sign for the year-end certification, certifying that you had a licensed county highway superintendent. I can read that whole resolution to you if you want, or I think Kelly had them all in your packets. It's up to you.
Does anyone feel he needs to read it?
No,
I think
we've read it already. so-
And it's fairly standard, that we do every year,
It
right?
is, yes, yeah.
And would there be a copy of this on the recording, at all? Do you
It's
have-
in the packet.
Right, and that
Right.
comes
On the
with
website.
that, right.
Yeah, it's
So,
on our
people would
website.
be able to read it if they want to.
You're up to date on all your classes and all your.
Yes,
stuff,
yep.
So that's, as long as you're up to date. on
That's
everything.
that's the next one
Oh,
that we
okay,
approved, but this is just the resolution,
Okay.
approving it, I guess.
So this item would be approving the resolution, and then we're going to approve for me to sign that.
Sign the certification, yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second that.
alright, is there any discussion from anyone on this item? This is a formality with the state.
Correct.
That,
This is how
they
we receive
require.
our highway, I don't wanna say allocation, that's different.
Some funds,
Incentive payment, there you
Right.
go. This is a incentive of $10,500.
that's what I was gonna say, I thought it was
Right.
around $10,000 or $12,000 that, we get back because of your certification. So, alright, any other discussion? Alright, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses?
Alright, so the motion's carried to approve that resolution. And, so Steve, go ahead with the next item.
So the next one is the year-end certification of the highway superintendent. This here you're approving the board chairperson to sign the certification, and it's from the period of January 1 of 2025 through December 31st of 2025. It has my license number on there with a Class A license. That's the only way you get that incentive payment, is to have a Class A license. If you have a Class B, you won't get that, so. And that's really what that is, I guess, so, not much to it. Pretty standard. It's the same every year. It's probably been this way for, I'd hate to say probably 20 years anyway.
How long's Lemoyne been there?
Yeah, Lemoyne has been there like 50 years, so I'm sure this form has not changed in his time there.
Right.
All right. Any discussion about the year-end certification for the county highway superintendent?
So we're, just for clarification, we're approving your signature to this certification?
We're okaying for him to sign.
For me to sign, okaying for me to sign it,
Not that, this.
yeah. Okay? All right, any other discussion? All right,
I move to approve the chairman's signature on the year-end certification of county highway superintendent for 2025.
I'll second
have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Let's see, Matt, we're gonna need your vote. Didn't go through the first time. There you go.
You have 4 yeses?
All right. Motion's carried.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thanks,
That's all I
Steve,
have.
appreciate it, appreciate your certification, and I know that, I think we've had certified people, for a long, long time, and so it certainly saves us money, for sure, and we appreciate that. Okay. So the next one is the general agenda items. The first item is to receive UNL Extension Programming Update. Yeah, come on up. Hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Audra Brown, and I'm the 4-H assistant here in Scotts Bluff County.
I'm Jana Schwartz, and I'm also a 4-H assistant here in Scotts Bluff.
So the numbers we have before you are our numbers from October 1st of 2024 to September 30th of 2025. So that was last year's 4-H year. And so our total youth that we have reached within our county, including our clubs, county fair, and our day program activities that we do, is 4,580 participants from ages 5 to 18. The number of programs that we offered during that year are 37 in all of our 4-H program priorities, which are ag and food systems, college and career pathways, health and wellness, and STEM. We reached all schools within Scotts Bluff County. These programs include our school enrichment programs, so embryology in our younger grades, summer programs, day-long events such as Agsplosion, Animals Inside and Out, camps, special interest clubs, and then our traditional 4-H programs that we have. Our traditional 4-H enrollment for our 2024-2025 was 621 enrolled members, and that includes those youth enrolled in clubs and participating in year-round events, including fair and robotics. And then I did break down our club enrollment by year back to 2021, so you can see the increase in numbers that we've had in traditional 4-H, and we have a total of 16 clubs within the county.
And those numbers, I want to make sure that you realize with the club enrollment that our traditional program is going strong, and that does also include our robotics clubs, because that also is kind of a full year long, and so we're really changing with what the youth are interested in. I didn't know if you were familiar with my position, which is a 4-H assistant that is funded by Beyond School Bells. if you don't know about Beyond School Bells, that is a Nebraska foundation. It's through Nebraska Children and Families Foundation. And its goal is to help pool funds, create partnerships, to make sure that the youth across the state are being able to be served through after-school programs, summer programs, kind of any time that there's a need that we can help fill that. And in this county, we realized there was a need. You remember Nathan Rice that was in this position, and the assistant position. We're constantly being asked to teach in after-school programs. And 4-H, we have the research-based programming, hands-on, that, and we were asked to do more than what we could. And so Beyond School Bells stepped in and funded this position, and it's definitely kept me busy in all the after-school programs in Scotts Bluff County. I've also went to Baird in Morrill County, and it's just, I think, a great partnership with Scotts Bluff County, with you guys funding the office portion and that sort of, the extension office, and then Beyond School Bells stepping in for the position. So yeah, do you guys
Very
have any
good.
questions for us?
Yes, I do. Where does the funding for Beyond School Bells originate?
So that's a complicated question, because they bring in federal funds, private funds, and foundations that are trying to reach this audience as well. So they're really great at putting all of those pieces together. And so it's under Children and Families Foundation, and they have different like age levels under them, and Beyond School Bells is that elementary school.
Okay, thank you very much.
How many people or youth would you say are involved in the computer or robotics and things?
So yeah, do you want to
Versus livestock? I'm just trying to get a handle on livestock versus robots.
So yeah, how many teams do we have?
I'm gonna count. Oh gosh, I should write this out. We have a max of 10 per team on the robotics, and we have an average about 8 per team, and we currently have 4 first Lego League Challenge teams, which are younger teams, and then we also have 2 first tech teams, which are our high school age, and they have from 5 to 8 kids as well. Per that, and then our livestock exhibitors last year, I believe we were around 300, give or take, on total, because they can exhibit more than one.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I've always been a supporter of what you do, and having grown up on a small farm and in the Baird area, your cohort, Mr. Irick, he and I were in the same 4-H club, and along with his older brothers and his parents, I think, were the leaders of the 4-H club, and it had a big impact on my life and the things that I learned, and I've been a major supporter of 4-H and what it is and what it done for me personally, and I know that it's a good influence on young people. I'm always concerned about young people having something to do other than being in front of video games and that type of thing, and this provides that, and I appreciate the things that you encourage young people to be involved with, and it certainly encourages them to be more productive, and the STEM stuff is just the major subjects that are going on right now, and it's a good thing. And what I have discovered is that those people that are involved with things like 4-H tend to be more productive when they're young, and then continue to be more productive when they're adults. And we appreciate the influence it has on those kids. Appreciate your work, both of you.
So much.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Very
Okay.
commendable what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think
Thanks so much.
There's a lot of activities where the number of participants are going down and yours is going up.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, you're holding here, so, thanks, Jackie. Yeah. Okay, the next item is to discuss and consider approval of opening meetings with prayer. I'll just mention that, at our last meeting, Mr. Steve Loveridge, presented the idea of, opening our meetings with prayer, and, we ask our, attorney, Jason Ocean, to look into that and to see what, that would entail and if that was legally possible. And, Jason, maybe you can, explain, a little bit about what you found and what you're telling the commissioners. Jason wrote us a memo, but I think you should maybe explain it some in your words.
Sure. Well, what I found is that prayer may be used to open a public meeting in Nebraska, but it must follow U.S. Supreme Court, what I'll call legislative prayer standards, to remain non-coercive, inclusive in opportunity, and primarily directed at solemnizing the body's work, meaning the county board's work, rather than proselytizing, which I would look at as, attempting to convert members of the public or those that would attend. Nebraska's own constitution bars religious preference while allowing worship. So any prayer or invocation practice must be structured and administered in a way that avoids endorsing any particular faith, and respects all attendees' freedom of conscience. Some of the things that I looked at, back in 1983, the U.S. Supreme Court, in a case, Marsh versus Chambers, looked at Nebraska's practice of the unicameral opening sessions with a prayer or an invocation. And the U.S. Supreme Court upheld that practice of opening the unicameral with a chaplain-led prayer. And looking through that case, they emphasized the history of the Nebraska legislature opening sessions with a prayer. And as they looked at the way in which invocations or prayers were given at the start of a session, found that there was no indication that this prayer opportunity had been exploited by anyone to proselytize towards any particular faith, or to advance one faith over another, or to disparage any faith, belief, or even non-belief. That the idea was to, I look at an invocation as invoking something. I'm invoking higher power for the purpose of wisdom or guidance for the legislative members, and a county board is a legislative body. Later, in 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court looked at this issue again, looking at whether or not there can be religious prayers at town meetings. And that case was Town of Greece versus Galloway. And they found that prayers could be used at the beginning of a town meeting, like a town council, or as long as the overall practice is not coercive, meaning you're not mandating that somebody stand and actively take part. It's not used to berate somebody that may not believe. That there was no evidence that attendees were or would be treated differently, meaning if somebody elected not to participate in a prayer or invocation, that they have every right to do that. And that could look like somebody deciding that they want to leave and come back. If you place an invocation or a prayer at the beginning, before business is conducted, somebody could make the decision that I'm going to come after that is done if they so chose. And that decision on their part would never be used by the legislative body to, meaning they wouldn't be put in any worse position if they elected not to do that they would have every right to do that. So what I found is when prayer is allowed, when a prayer or invocation is permissible, that it be placed at the opening of a meeting as a ceremonial or solemnizing act before substantive business or public comment begins. That the county board would, if they're to do this, maintain a practice that, taken as a whole, does not proselytize, meaning try to convert, does not disparage other faiths or non-beliefs, or pressure attendees to actively participate. That the opportunity to offer invocations is not limited to any preferred denomination and is open on neutral terms to willing clergy or laypersons, including minority faiths and non-believers if they wish to volunteer for a type of invocation. In terms of content and conduct, the purpose and tone would be to frame the meeting in terms of seeking wisdom or guidance and is directed to board members, not as a message to convert or instruct the public. Sectarian references, for example, if somebody were to give an invocation or prayer that would reference Jesus' name, those are not automatically unconstitutional. Prayers, as well as, less religious invocations can both be acceptable, but the overall pattern cannot be used to proselytize or denigrate others or their faith or lack of faith. I would say another really important limitation would be that aspect of no coercion, meaning that members of the public must be free to arrive after the prayer, to remain seated or silent, or not participate if they so choose, without any adverse treatment or implication for their ability to speak, petition, or receive services from the county. And board members should avoid singling out or publicly criticizing anyone who chooses not to participate, that would be a right that each person would maintain. If the board decides to go forward with this, I would recommend that the board adopt a written policy describing this, as a ceremonial tradition and outlining these aspects of an invocation or a prayer. And I think that one aspect of any such policy could be that, the county clerk, for example, could indicate on the website or in other places at the administration building or the courthouse where we have public announcements that there could be a system, a neutral system, kind of a first come, first serve if somebody wants to offer to give an opening prayer or invocation, that there be a neutral method of doing that, and scheduled on a first come, first served basis. I think those would be the primary thing. The memo and samples that are there are just to kind of provide some of those neutral aspects to the board if you would choose to move forward with this. To me, those would be the primary aspects. I think the record keeping on this from the clerk's part, other than advertising, would really just be if there's a policy of maintaining a simple record identifying each invocation speaker, or any organizational affiliation and the date that they gave it, mainly just to document that there's been neutral administration of the policy over time, that just one faith or one person wasn't exclusively given that opportunity.
Jason, do you think, I can remember, back, my father was a pastor, and, he was invited to go to the unicameral and, open their session with prayer, and I believe what I remember was that each, state senator was, invited someone from their district, I believe, was part of the process, and then I know they had a regularly appointed chaplain that was there that kind of overseen that process. But, anyway, we as commissioners could encourage people to get on the list or whatever,
And I agree, I think that would be something that in addition to, publicly posting that this is an opportunity that's available, I think commissioners or members of the public could, encourage people to put their name on the list and come forward to do that if
Would
they
we
so
post
chose.
that name on the agenda, hopefully? That we'd have pastor, whoever come in and,
I suspect that we would know hopefully that person's name in advance and could be part of the agenda, I would hope,
that'd be great.
I would
Um,
think.
I have one question. You talked about originally that it unicameral used a chaplain, you said it in the beginning. And then you said anyone could do it at the end.
We need the microphone.
Is that right? You said anyone could administer the prayer?
Yes, I mean, some legislative bodies have a legislative or house chaplain that they vote on and have, and that person's job in part, they typically open sessions at the beginning, and then they will also kind of be in charge of administrating that neutral policy of inviting people in from different areas. What I found, at the city or the county level is that, just because usually there's not a position available, say, to be a particular chaplain, is that a general invitation to people in Scotts Bluff County that this opportunity is available to them, that they could call and get on the list, or members of the commissioners or other members of the public could invite people to put their name in.
I know when when Mr. Loveledge brought this up, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks now, it seemed like there was, interest in the commissioners, at that time, and, that we seem to be very interested in it, and I appreciate you, doing the work that you have. I know that Mr. Loveledge is here. I know there may be others that are here, on this subject. I wanna be sure and give, people an opportunity to say anything if you want to. We've heard what Mr. Ocean has said, concerning the process, I think. And, I think what he's suggesting is that if we would, decide tonight that it's something that we would want him to pursue, that we would vote to have him, put together a, policy,
Resolution, yeah.
and that we would adopt at possibly the next meeting if that was the consensus here tonight.
Yes, and timing wise, that's something that we could do. We could finalize a proposed resolution and policy, and then get that to Kelly, so that could be made available
Sure.
as part of the packet prior to the next meeting, or whenever the commissioners would choose to bring that up.
Sure.
I'd like to see it at least be enforced by the first of the year if we could.
Yeah, I'd love to see it happen, but I wanna be sure, and, if anyone wants to say anything this evening, you're welcome to come forward and mention anything you want to. And, okay, yeah,
I just, I'd like to say that, the first 10 words of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. It's the Establishment Clause, and it, as Mr. Ocean pointed out, it doesn't, prevent legislative bodies from from having a prayer, because they do. I would be comfortable with a moment of silence. You know, religion is important to me, it is, but I see it as a private thing. And my concern about the Board of Commissioners adopting a prayer, it becomes public. So I guess I am not opposed to a moment of silence where individuals can say whatever prayer they wish, but I guess I would have a problem with having a standard prayer that's going to be done at the start of every commissioner's board meeting.
And the way, and we'll be right with you here.
Ju-
And
Mr.
the way I would see it is, it wouldn't be some kind of standard prayer that was given the same words by different individuals, but their own words spoken at an invitation would be my understanding.
Yeah,
And
and
I-
the way that, I've looked at this just in terms of trying to put together a draft policy based on the legal framework that I looked through. The idea would be that there wouldn't be just a standard prayer, for example, that the idea would be that a prayer or invocation, you know, directed at the work of the board could be done, that to me the safest practice would be that the board would actually not receive the content in advance, that this, so that you're not endorsing any particular, but that the idea would be that these guidelines would be given to folks that, you know, if somebody violates that and uses this opportunity to try to express political opinions, or, you know, and endorse some sort of ballot initiative, or makes it about proselytizing, meaning trying to convert somebody to faith or non-faith, that the board or the clerk could elect that person may not be called back in the future, because that's not the intent of the what I would call legislative prayer standards that have been reviewed by the U.S. Supreme Court.
In response to what Matt said, can we make this to where it wouldn't be a mandatory prayer, but it was an option that if anybody chose to come up and give a prayer, that we would accept that?
I think we,
Well, we talked about trying to invite someone and have them on the agenda.
Sure.
It would be,
That way, I mean, if nobody signs up that month or that week, we could leave it open or have our pastor.
yeah, we have and I should say, we have a unique situation here, and that's that one of our commissioners is actually a chaplain.
Yeah, that's,
And he is Mr. Blue, and it's a little unique that he has those credentials, and but that really, the way I would see it isn't apparently, at least, the intent of the policy to use the commissioners themselves, but more possibly someone else. So, ma'am, you came up. Let us let you speak, and we'll go from there. Go ahead.
Thank you.
And
My name is Judy Amoo, A-M-O-O. Well, while I appreciate this conversation very much and the depth with which you all are thinking about the possibility of doing this, it seems like just because you can offer a prayer in a meeting like this maybe isn't something that you should do. I appreciate wanting to invoke higher wisdom into the processes, and I feel like the Pledge of Allegiance brings God into the conversation already and is a way to start a meeting in a way that seems traditional and appropriate. But bringing prayer and church and state together in a meeting such as this does not seem appropriate to me. It seems like there would be a perception, no matter how hard you try, of influencing people or proselytizing or even just sharing the beliefs that come out at a prayer would feel divisive to some people, offensive to some people, inappropriate to many people, and just not set the kind of tone that you want. There's already enough divisiveness in our world. There's already enough distrust within this body based on previous things that have come up, and it seems like you would be inviting additional divisiveness and confusion, I think, to processes that should be separate from government doings, in my opinion. And so I think that, you know, there is something called the Establishment Clause, which is an act, I think, that, I don't know much about it, but I looked it up today, and it seems like that is a way that litigation could come into play if you all would set about to say a prayer. And I think that it would be very hard for keeping influence out of the process, in my opinion. There are many other religions. There's, you know, Hindu religions, Islam religions, there's Judaism, Taoism, and how would you ensure that what you would bring forth in the form of a prayer, or that the people from this community would not alienate some of our constituents, some of your constituents? And so I just want to make sure that the voice of people that aren't here and the voice of people that are could be balanced out with the conversation that seems like you're really leaning towards doing this. And I really hope that you give this serious consideration, because I think that you could be setting yourselves up for litigation, setting yourselves up for a feeling of discrimination, and not showing a level of inclusivity and diversity that the world really begs for at this time. Thank you for letting me say that.
Yep.
May I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Under the Establishment Clause in the First Amendment, it prohibits the U.S. government from establishing a religion. Historically, establishing meant prohibiting state-sponsored churches such as the Church of England. And you brought up the separation of church and state. That is no official U.S. government document. The discussion of separation of church and state comes from a personal letter that Jefferson received from the Anabaptists, that they were concerned when we established the United States government that they would be infringed upon on their practice of religion. Jefferson responded by writing a letter to the Anabaptists, and he said that the U.S. government welcomes faith. They will not dictate how you practice your faith. And he directed his conversation to all faiths in the United States, that we would not dictate which faith or how you would practice your faith. And so that's probably one of the biggest lies that has been perpetrated on the American public for hundreds of years, is the idea of separation of church and state. It does not exist. A lot of people think it exists in the Constitution. It does not. And what they do is they pick out the First Amendment. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress or grievances. Basically, there is no separation of church and state. And me as a U.S. citizen, that always bothers me, because people preach it like it's gospel truth. It does not exist. And I challenge anybody to show me where it is. It's not in the U.S. Constitution. It's not in the Bill of Rights. It's not in any official U.S. government document in the archives. And I hear that all the time. I grew up thinking there was such a thing. And in adult life, I took history in college, and I looked it up, and I studied it, and it doesn't exist. And I personally feel, when I pray, I ask for guidance. I ask for integrity. I ask for compassion. When I pray, I'm not praying for anybody to convert from their religion. That is the biggest fallacy. You know, no pastor, no imam, no rabbi, when they pray, is praying to proselytize anybody. I am a chaplain. I have a bug out bag, I call it, when I respond to crisis. And in that bag, I have a number for an imam in Denver. I have a number for a rabbi in Denver. And I also have a number for a gentleman, I forgot what to call him, the Hindu faith. And I have those in my bag, so if I come across an individual of that faith and they're struggling, if they want me to call somebody from their faith, I call that particular religious leader. And so people throw out proselytization, they throw out separation church and state. Those are meant to create fear and doubt in people. We don't want to do that here. We just want to ask for integrity and wisdom when we make these decisions. I do that in my private life. I've been to public meetings in other states where they invoke a prayer for guidance, and I see personally nothing wrong with that. But if an individual is so scared that they're worried about a prayer in public for guidance, maybe need to check your belief system out, maybe check yourself out, I don't know. But I've been to a lot of places where I have good friends of mine who are Catholic priests, awesome prayers, great people. So I think I appreciate your concerns, but it isn't the intent of this board to create separation. Separation, in my opinion, is created in people's minds sometimes. And there's a lot of public comment out there from politicians generating this separation and this division with their population. But the average individual in our population is not a person that creates division. They go about living their lives as they see fit. And that's what I hope in our community is we are a community, and I don't think there's anything out there that should separate us. And as for Matt, I appreciate his thoughts on moments of silence. That's very important, but I think we should give our pastors and people who want to pray the opportunity to pray out loud and ask for wisdom for this board. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public that would like to speak?
Vicky Stoll, S-T-O-L-L, and I would just like to encourage the board to consider a prayer. I look at the prayer as the guidance, the compassion. It only has to be a sentence or two long. It doesn't have to be all that long. It's just asking for a higher power. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jake Roberts, Jakeroberts. I'm a pastor for 34 years at Monument Bible Church. I've been invited to pray at a number of public events, 911 in particular. We had a large meeting at WNCC Gymnasium. We had a large meeting out at Five Rocks. I felt very honored to be invited. I do have a bias. All my prayers end in the name of Jesus. I think I'm sensitive to, as many of the other pastors, to the makeup of the community. I think you need wisdom. And people of wisdom are identifiable. I loved hearing what Mike said about you as Lieutenant Colonel. My dad had 2 Purple Hearts. I had brothers in Vietnam. I'm an unabashed patriot. I love the country. I'm grateful that we can ask for a pledge of allegiance to a flag worth paying allegiance to. So if I'm invited, I'll come, but understand I have a bias, and we'll close it in the name of Jesus.
Anyone else? Okay. Any other comments from commissioners at this point? All right, hearing none, and I would say that, I think most of you know my thoughts and opinion, and that's that I would, certainly am a person of faith and certainly, appreciate when words are said for wisdom and the things, the other attributes that Mike mentioned for not only myself, but for all of us. And, every little bit when I see Christian friends, Steve is one of them especially, and that, that they say, I'm praying for you. And not just on my meeting nights, but every day. And, the things that we deal with on a daily basis. And I appreciate, what he has said. And, so, and I, didn't have any influence on Steve coming here, 3 weeks ago, as far as, didn't ask him to, but I wish that I would have done it before he did, and I didn't. And, I appreciate the fact that he did bring it to our attention, and, so with all of that, as you, can imagine, I'm certainly in favor of it. And with that, I would offer a motion that would be, I would move that we, instruct the, attorney, Mr. Ocean, to continue, working on an invocation policy that he could bring to us, hopefully by the next meeting,
To be approved.
to be, looked at and voted on at that time.
And then also resolution to be, join that.
Whatever it takes to get the process in motion.
I'll second that.
And again, before we go to a vote,
Sure.
religion is really important to me. It really is. And there were times, Mike, when we went out on mission, that group would get together and you'd say a prayer. And, you know, I understand it has its place. I just don't see that it has a place here. And praying for guidance, I do every day. I ask for guidance. But I think a moment of silence where you can ask for guidance, I'm okay with that. But I would not support just a prayer to be said for the group as a whole.
And I understand your position, so. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion up here? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 3 yeses, 1 no, and then nay is partially.
So the motion carries. So Jason, if you would prepare that and bring it back to us, and
I will.
that'd be good. All right, appreciate each one of you that were here this evening on this item. Okay, the next item is to discuss and consider designation of the official Scotts Bluff County newspaper. And so, Ms. Kelly, yeah, I know we have some information on that, but is that simply, that's for the official notices that you put out? Would that be true?
I didn't read it.
What's that?
I said I didn't read it.
Well, it's pretty,
I put it before the board.
Well, it looks like
They
Well,
want to
it's
know
also
who
about
we
NDOT.
select as our official newspaper, but I would just recommend that you designate the Star Herald so we can move on.
What
I
are
mean,
other options?
it's really the only one available to us that has the circulation, I think, that they want, so. And it's part of NDOT things, so. Any discussion?
Nothing to
Again, I
talk
think
about.
it's the only one we have.
That's all we have. If we had another one, we could discuss. I'll make a motion, we, ask the Star Herald to be our designated paper.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Motion and a second, any other discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
You have 4 yeses.
All right, the motion's carried. Next item is discuss and consider approval for limited special claims run for utilities.
Let me talk to Lisa. I think we got everything, didn't we, actually?
For this,
For-
I didn't know if you meant the end of the month, or I should get some.
No, I meant claim, since we were on the 1st and people were concerned about a lot of our bills are due like the 10th. And I feel like we may have got all of them, but just in the chances that we missed something, like Roosevelt Public Power or NPPD bill or something, because we don't meet again until after the 10th,
Right.
just if you would give me the okay to,
Okay,
Russ would like, or is asked, there was a claim that I pulled a couple times ago, we're still out of cash. I was like, we're out of cash too.
well, it was
But yes.
specifically for utilities.
Specifically, we were
It's-
just wondering if that's could be added to the,
You're making it what you want it to be, so add it to it.
I'm not making it what I want it to be,
Not on
I'm
the
making it
agenda.
so our lights don't get
It's
shut
not on
off.
the- It's not on the agenda, so you must be.
the other item you mean isn't on the agenda. This is on the utilities part of it is on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is limited to the special claims run just for utilities.
Okay.
Just 'cause I threw it on there, like I said, in case we didn't get everything, 'cause I know roads was Sherry was worried about it, so.
was she?
But then I think we got them all, also.
So do you think we need to, approve this just in case, or are you thinking it's all taken care of?
I feel like we,
Okay.
I feel like we got it covered,
we
but
call
just
this
in
a
case,
hearing.
exactly.
That's the big one. That's really a big one, and they
With
followed
the city,
through.
yeah, right.
And so this would be what, we've done this before, and what it generally means is that we're approving, staff to pay the claim, even though we haven't officially approved it yet, but we would, assuming again that it's standard claims, nothing unusual, and that, we would then approve those claims officially at our next meeting. Would that be true?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I would offer a motion that says that we would approve a, limited special claims run for utilities, to be approved at the next meeting if needed.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses.
Motion's carried. Okay, so we have, old business, time clock plus, payroll processes, anything new, Lisa?
Did we discuss before the fact that, Kelly and has heard from MIPS and they are deploying the payroll software and the AP software beginning in January? We can start working towards that, right, Kelly?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know that we brought that up, or did we know that 2
We
weeks
didn't know
ago?
it yet.
No,
Okay,
I don't think
so
so.
that's good news.
Yeah.
That's what we've been waiting for, so maybe we can start making our next steps after that is, implemented. It's the step we've been needing for at least 7 years,
Sure.
so.
So, yeah, so it sounds like maybe we'll be making some more accelerated progress on that, maybe in the next month or so.
Yeah, you'll be hearing more,
Right.
and in the
And you'll be
meantime,
gone,
what's that?
and you'll be gone? Maybe
I'll-
still
I'll-
coming back.
Yeah, I'll just cheer you on. No, it's good.
Yeah, all right, well, we appreciate that. Anything else that needs to be said on that?
unless you wanna know, I mean, MIPS will be on site helping us, and I would like Bri and Charlotte to work together on each part, like Charlotte come in when they install the payables, and her, when they install payroll, have Bri come up with Charlotte, because of the work they do together. So if one person thinks of something while they're getting their training, that they
It's a
could work
very
through
good
that
idea, Kelly.
together.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted to throw out there.
Good.
And Mark, there's no action that needs to be taken by us tonight?
No,
Correct.
this
Yeah.
has been under old business for months and months.
Over a year.
I was gonna say maybe
we were-
years.
We just wanted to keep it top of mind awareness, and, this is how we did it. And we wanted updates as often as we could get them, and, that's why it's on the agenda, and the next item as well. So, any other things on Time Clock Plus? Alright, we'll move on to the next one, the USDA Wildlife Services Program, and, I don't know of anything new there.
Haven't heard anything.
We, have tried to get some input from some other counties, and, I don't think we've been successful with that, and,
Who's going to NACO?
I'm not,
I'm going.
Russ.
So you guys might hear about it for an update in
More
January
up
then.
there. And you
But-
might see some of our
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be
commissioner
there.
friends that you could bug them about it. And, yeah, so, but other than that, I don't know of any other updates right now.
Same.
Anyone else? Okay. Alright, so I think that takes care of old business. We'll go on to the next item, which is public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting, or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented this date. I'd ask, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak under this item tonight? Come on up.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, my name is Jackie Conrad. It's Jacciconrad. I'm the Business Development Manager for the Star Herald, and I would like to thank you for continuing to support us and for trusting us to be your official newspaper. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anyone else here tonight from the public that would like to speak? All right. Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go on to, the next item, which is, board and staff reports with discussion. This gives an opportunity for the staff and board to just simply discuss items that might be, going on at this point in time. These are not intended for action, so you should be aware of that. So, let's see, maybe it's time to start over here, Ms. Kelly,
Okay.
with you.
I would like to know how many of you will be attending Kurt's public hearing for transit on December 11th at 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
What
It's
is
my,
it for?
The public hearing for transit.
for Kurt's.
Okay. I wanted to put something in the paper if you guys were all gonna be here. We didn't know if you need to lead it or we're winging
Sure.
it a little.
So Kurt, maybe when it comes around to you, maybe you can, mention how you anticipate that meeting going. The fact that there'll be more than 3 commissioners here, we need to call an official meeting, I think is what she's saying. And I think that would be good.
Don't we have to at a public hearing anyway, Mark?
Well, I think so. I'm
We're having
not,
a public hearing, but we didn't know if we needed you to lead it or not.
right, we didn't know whether we would be leading that or whether you would be leading that. But doesn't matter if there's 3 of us here or more, we need to officially call it a meeting.
We still have to open the meeting, though.
Right, so, but when we come around this direction, if you'll be prepared to talk about that, we'd appreciate it. So,
What time is that meeting?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So that's, yeah, December 11th, Thursday, 1
It'll-
PM.
It'll be in this room?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll go on around the room. Steve, I think you're next. Nothing? Robert? Nothing today. Okay,
I asked Steve to
Steve?
come.
yeah. Ask Steve to be here. So this is Steve Davidson. Steve is the interim facility and maintenance manager person. And he, I think, is coming tonight to give us an update on a few things. So Steve?
I hope so. Hello? Raise that up. so you can talk.
Yeah, I might raise it up a
There
little.
you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first thing we need to cover is the courthouse boiler system. Those have been installed, fully functional, great boilers. They're not integrated into the control system, meaning they're not in the building automation. We have single point control over those right now. They need to be tied into that system, and that's something that I've scheduled for January 5th from Train, and they'll come take care of that for us.
Do you think that, that Jay had the money in the budget for that?
How much did we estimate it would be?
It was about $20,800.
That's on top of the boiler?
Yeah,
Yes,
That wasn't put into the quote?
no.
I don't
There-
know.
If you recall, the boilers, we had the 3 quotes come in, and Rasmussen came in significantly lower, but I don't think this was tied into that. And I'm not gonna guarantee you he had it in his budget, but and there might be budget money for it. Well, Steve and we can discuss that.
But either way, it is basically gotta be done.
It's basically what we have now is a car with 3 wheels.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it has to be done. You've made the investment in the entire automation, and now we have the motor. Let's finish it up. I mean, it makes no sense not to.
Those controls allows each area to be controlled separately and individually, where right now it's controlled at one location. It's either always on or
No, not necessarily. Right now, we have the choice of giving the control to the office holder, or we can take that. But what that does, is that just controls your airflow, which is basically your air conditioning, but it also cools it down in the winter when you have too much heat. It's a reverse system. So they have control of what that room is, but they have no control over the building and no control of the heat source. That's where we have one point. We have to walk over, look at it, turn it. We can't tell you what it's doing. I can tell you what the building's doing, but I can't tell you what the engine's doing, to put it in layman's terms. So,
and it obviously it should have been included, and maybe it was in Jay's mind at that time. I'm not really sure, but the main thing is that we need to. It needs to happen.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Was the building not under that originally?
no, this is controls that Train completed about a year ago.
Okay,
And we went from pneumatic to complete electronic. And now we can monitor that building
okay.
without being in that building.
But those were completed last year.
Yes,
So if it was working last year and we just added a boiler, what didn't get added?
there's well points, to try and make it simple, there's well points on a system like that,
Okay,
where you're gonna read incoming water temperature, return, supply water temperature, pressures, what are the pumps doing, what's the RPM? It tells you basically what that motor's doing. And that, in the new system, you can't just tie that in, that's a Train function. That's not a Rasmussen function. Meaning it's their controls, they have to tie that in.
I remember the Rasmussen bid was substantially less, and I don't know whether it has anything to do with this or not, but whatever the case is, that lesser bid, would help pay for this,
what do you mean
so
by
to speak.
substantial, Mark?
if I remember, almost $100,000.
That's where I'm at. I'm thinking it was $179,000 bid compared to the others at 250 or more. There was like two others.
Yeah,
Right.
it was substantial.
So, and if it's not in his budget, it was typically thrown to the capital improvement budget by our previous building manager. So, I can't tell you, that's what, if we think we're in a good place, we can take it from the budget, otherwise we'll have to pay it from the capital improvement.
Right.
At any rate, we're gonna do it.
Right.
Need to do it, yes.
I think
What do we
that,
need to give you authority to do this, Steve?
what,
We can't do it tonight, but. I
we
mean,
can't
what-
do it tonight,
no,
we
I
can't
understand
vote
that.
here, but I think he's already,
You've
in
already
my
got it
opinion,
scheduled.
Jay had already, was planning on doing it. He wouldn't have done the project without thinking that this was gonna have to be done.
Yeah, I may be stepping out of line, but I've already given them the go-ahead and have it scheduled for January. So
I don't
it's,
think
You
that's
don't have
We
to
had,
approve.
we had talked about that, yeah,
He's
because
just
we
giving you
felt
updates.
it was already in there.
Yeah.
He's just giving us an update.
gotta be completed.
yes. We're currently working, and I'm working with John on a monitoring system for a backup generator. We did have an event in October that kinda showed some shortcomings with the system. We've worked the bugs out of that system. We found the faulty relay, corrupted relay. Everything's been corrected. And I can go into what happened later on if you guys want to. I can give that to you. I think it's a little involved, but after getting that done, it came to my awareness that there was no notification that I was aware of. Meaning nothing was gonna tell me that the generator didn't fire. Nothing told me that the switchgear didn't switch over. None of that. And that's a problem. Somebody needs to be notified when that backup service is interrupted. Your comm center runs from that backup service. The servers that generate all this come from the backup service. So I've been talking to John and working with PowerTech, and we currently do have that notification ability. Right now, it's analog, if I'm not mistaken, John. It's an analog, but it does notify the folks in the comm center. It lets them know, is this generator running? Is it under a load? Is the oil pressure low? Is it low on fuel? Didn't it fire? Those sort of things. And there's about a 12 line item panel that tells you what these are. Unfortunately, when this was put in, the individuals that were instructed on how this works and what it does currently aren't employed here. And nobody else was privy to that
You
conversation
just
or
learned that
discussion.
today, didn't you?
Pardon?
Did you tell me you learned that today?
I knew about the panel in the comm center, I was aware of it last week, but me and John became aware of just exactly what it does today. Cindy wasn't involved in that, so there's a number of people here that should have been, but weren't. So I've talked to PowerTech, and I've hopefully have them scheduled this week to come over and lay that out in detail, just exactly what does it do now? How does it operate? So that Cindy can run with her people in the comm center, so that they know what they're looking at, because I asked them point blank, actually John did today, asked them point blank, what, you guys see this light up ever? And they don't know. They weren't instructed, they weren't told anything. So, we're trying to correct that. To make a long story short.
That's a big deal to have that.
You know?
It is, and Russ, what I think we're trying to get is to have it put on the network so that we can take that a step farther. And we have push notifications now. And I don't believe there's any reason why we can't put that notification that way.
Out to you guys.
So that it comes to the appropriate people, me probably, maybe you fellas want one,
But-
John certainly, the
Especially
guys that
you.
work for me over there, so that somebody is aware of what's going on with this.
Right, in real time. What's
Exactly.
going on.
We need a whole lot of checklists for things that people need to know about different systems.
Yes.
I mean, seriously.
Oh, I agree, Kelly, totally.
You,
Okay.
none of you guys were trained as this was installed, none of you maintenance calls were part of that?
The discussions that we were privy to were the operation of the generator itself.
Okay.
And basically a maintenance point of view, what we need to do.
Be looking.
Going beyond that, no, sir. So, we have purchased a new snow plow. I think you're all aware of that. We have not used it yet.
That's a, plow on the front of a pickup, right?
Yes,
I think Jay had budgeted that last year.
it was budgeted, it's been
Yes.
paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's good there.
Who scooped our snow then?
Eric did with
We did.
We
other.
just hadn't picked it up, I think,
At that time.
correct?
Yeah. If you go over to
picked up
his
now.
shop, he's got what, two snow blowers,
Couple of
mule
Rangers.
set up with him, and he's got a pickup. So today's only required the mule,
Okay.
right?
The plow, Kelly, is just for the parking.
What I'm getting at is thanks for scooping the parking lot.
You're welcome.
Hey, Steve, can I have you address something too? Now, Eric mentioned this briefly to me today, that in plowing or getting taken care of the snow, that he has a problem with the state and the county vehicles in the parking lots to get it done efficiently. What are we supposed to do?
Yes, that can be a problem in clearing basically this parking lot here, the one that's on the north side.
Can we get you a unit number on those vehicles and you guys a set of keys in case they are in the way?
We could do that, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Maybe that or,
How many vehicles are we talking about?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Yeah,
at
probably
least.
6. I've spoke to Matt in the VA.
VAs,
Oh, there's 2.
vans.
He's moved his, so his haven't created a problem, but this is generally right here in the north parking lot. And I do need to communicate with the comm center on the dispatchers that might be on duty at that time of night or morning, and I will do so with that.
What would happen if we took the west parking off the street and made that, and put, no parking signs there for those vehicles?
The west.
The west
Off the
parking
street.
that comes in off the street.
Are
That
you
way
talking about
you
the
can
street
plow-
side?
Yes, and then you can plow everything, and they can move them as needed, or
Yeah,
they
that-
keep it clean behind them.
That wouldn't create a problem for us.
If we just put them to where cause the city will clean that street, and that'll be clean behind them that way.
Our biggest concern is just the internal parking lot
But
on
we'd
the
have to put,
campus.
we'd have to post those parking spaces out there saved for whatever, you know.
Is that our parking or cities?
wow.
It's the other thing.
I don't know, we need
If
to
we
ask.
have control over that or
I
the city
believe we
does.
have control over that.
Or every time one opens, go put a car there.
But I believe that's our parking, cause they took out the green areas, the green space and put it clear
I'm
up
fairly
in there.
certain, I don't, whether it's ours or not, I know we have control over it, because with Carol years ago, not to age myself, we did change some of that out there.
Did you?
Yeah.
So would there be a problem for you guys to park on the west side there, Robert?
No, and actually, we have a lockbox in our office to keep the keys in, so your guys can have access to that, and come get the keys.
I don't think you need one more thing to do when you're pushing snow for us. They can move them off the parking lot.
Well, I'm just saying, if we park on the west side, if we move everything to the west side, well, I'm just saying, if we could set it up over
Yeah.
there.
It could just be a
Are you saying by where the VA vehicles are?
Well, come in off the street, come in off the street, park straight toward.
Right.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario,
But where the
You could
VA
move 'em.
vehicles typically sit,
Again,
that area.
I
Okay.
think as you're saying, the communication of just asking, where you want people to park or whatever, hopefully it'll
think that's
solve
good.
90% of it. But, sometimes it doesn't solve it all, and, but we could, ask.
Remember when you were trying to pour concrete?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You see a lot of mornings anymore. It's very busy out there.
Okay, anything else?
Not really,
Okay.
that's of concern right now.
Okay.
This is what's going on right now.
I appreciate you coming in and doing that.
Thank you,
Right, no
Steve.
worries.
Appreciate it.
A good
Appreciate
update.
updates, yeah. So, thanks.
fellas.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, bites.
Am I considered staff? Can I report?
Yeah, I think so.
So just two things. One was to meet Steve. I haven't met him yet, but
Did
of
you?
course, not yet, but
Okay, but
I will after.
Steve, don't leave.
I will after. That was mainly because, of course, we have millions of dollars worth of equipment, not only the Motorola equipment for radio communications, the server infrastructure in that room. We've been lucky, there's some wood over here, right? That room has gone down, I think, 4 or 5 times. We have a UPS that sits there, of course, but it should only be used for, like, the time it takes to go from city power to generator power. Well, we've had problems with that generator for a number of years, and so we've hard powered down that room because we haven't been notified in time. Sometimes it's been after hours, and for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, we don't have enough time to shut it down. So I wanted to make sure we had a plan to make sure that we were communicating across that, hey, let's make sure we're notified. We do get notified if the UPS goes on battery power. So we've been able to save it a few times going, hey, battery's running out of juice, let's get the server room shut down gracefully and then bring it back up. We did that this last power outage. We did that. But I want to make sure that we have a good plan moving forward. We have a number of people that are organized to go, hey, that generator's not kicked on. Do we have a backup plan as the backup one? Because I think it has to be manually turned on today if it doesn't activate.
And now we got people coming.
Yep.
People coming to deal with it.
So myself, I've been working with John behind the scenes also to make sure we have a good plan of action for that. And then the second thing that requires no action tonight is I just want to let you guys know that I did finish my work with Allo. We're spending today around $4,200 a month for the phone system. So that's the kind of number I'm working with now, that, there wouldn't be a change in pay or a change in spend. It would just move towards a different vendor or a different solution. So now we know kind of the number we're at. We're trying to work around how that's going to look like, get a little tighter on, do we really need all these extensions? Do we really need all these phones? Do people need the licenses for this, this phone with voicemail and et cetera? So as we narrow that down, we'll be able to get trying to get close to that number. So that way, when we come time to present, we can just allocate those funds towards not being on Allo, but being towards a new phone system. So that's where we're at today.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I have one thing I'd like to bring Steve and John back up if I could to talk about what he just spoke about. Steve, could you and John come up and speak about that other backup generator downstairs for a backup of the backup?
Yes. Currently, what I call the old generator, it's the one that's sitting in the basement right now. That's been in service for years, works great. It still can be put in service. In fact, it is right now. I've had it put back in service. For that event in October, it came to our attention that when the new generator didn't fire up, didn't switch over, our secondary generator, which is the green one in the basement, I'll just call it the green one, was shut off. My proposal to you, I guess, my thoughts is you need to put it back in service, which I already have, so I apologize if I offended anybody, but I put it back in service. It makes no sense to have that down there and not use it.
Steve and I talked about that last week, I believe, about that.
I'm aware of that, Kurt, but until that time comes, it makes no sense to me to take it out of service.
This other generator hasn't proven itself yet, and I think he's got something that we need to have that backup for the comm center only, basically. Isn't that right?
Right.
Until we
Its
get that
sole
up and running.
purpose was,
Yeah.
excuse me, but its sole purpose was originally, and still is, the UPS, the server room and the comm center, and a few emergency lights in the building. And it did fine back in 2010, 11, and it's still doing fine. So,
But I think until that other generator's proven itself, I think that that should stay connected until further
I
notice.
totally agree until you guys are comfortable and I'm comfortable, John's comfortable, then I guess that's a discussion we can have, but until then,
Right. So tell us, I've already asked this question of you before, but tell us about the testing on that new unit and how do we test, how often do we test and that type of thing?
well, that's a good question. It initially was set up for a practice run every Monday morning, not under a load, just a practice run. It was taken off that practice run. Now it's currently put back on that practice run. But we need to do a load test on that as we do at the detention center, once a month. Out of those 4 times that it runs during the month, one of those should be under a load. And that tells us the whole thing's working, not just this one piece, the whole thing's working. So I'm working at getting that done with PowerTech.
Could that be done before business hours or after business hours to where we wouldn't interrupt anything that's going on in one of the buildings here?
Yes, in fact, it was suggested to me by PowerTech that we do it on our schedule and we can do it manually. So that it doesn't have to just automatically happen Monday, maybe Wednesday. We wanna do it as long as we notify everybody at 7 o'clock, this is running through a test.
And then
So early-
document those days.
Exactly, and your early birds that come in early, they'll know, hey, we're running
What's
the
going
test, don't.
With a load test though, we need to make sure that, no electronic equipment is impacted by that test. Computers are shut down, nothing sensitive is going to, be corrupted by that.
How are you testing a load if we're not using our stuff?
Computers don't drive much of a load, but your
No, lights,
heaters,
heaters, et cetera.
But you guys can coordinate that together to where you both feel comfortable with those things and still gives us the testing
Yes,
security that we need, not security, but testing, confidence that we need to feel that when we have another power outage, it's gonna kick in as it should.
but yes, I plan to make that happen.
that will
Between the
build
two
the
of you.
confidence right there, I think.
Right.
Yes, and with what John said, something that we will go through is to make sure, if every computer is on some sort of a UPS, then problem solved. It's the ones out there on this campus that may not be on a UPS, and I don't know how many that is, John's gonna help me with that, but.
And by UPS, he means individual UPSs for a computer.
Power system,
Um,
power source.
right, a basic UPS that can provide, 15, 20, 30 minutes of runtime is more than adequate, as long as the generator's functional. It's supposed to come online with 2 minutes?
Yes, within 2 minutes, and
So-
it has a 35-minute runtime. And a lot of these computers that we have in the buildings right now, a lot of them are already on their own separate UPS.
Some departments have elected to purchase UPSs, some have not. I always encourage them to, simply to protect the equipment itself. And if someone has something they're working on, they've got hours of work into it, and the power blips, well, that productivity's lost.
They need to be.
I had a question, is there a chance that maybe you could talk to Wes, just a thought, rather than back feeding all that into these buildings and stuff and interrupting or disrupting, what if we fed that back into the grid and sold it back to whoever, cause we can sell power anytime. What if we would build a manual knife engagement system, you guys would engage it, start the system, feed it into the grid instead of, and then it would put a load on it to where,
I can do that, similar to what we have at the detention center.
pardon me?
Similar to what we have at the detention center.
Yeah, if we could, maybe just check and see what something like, a source like that would cost to build. But if we could, tie that back to the grid, feed it into there and not interrupt all these buildings just for tests only. Cause cause you'd have to manually switch that to go to grid and back.
Correct.
That way you could stay, if we had a 3-way knife, you could, set that up.
I can see if it's possible, and then if it is possible, to monitor what output that is putting on a load, because that's gonna be very important.
Yeah.
To know that is it operating at 70% or is it 40%? Then we know it was a good test, now we know what to correct, yeah.
I think it would save a lot of problems feeding into here and somebody forgot to turn their computer off and then we have problems and smoked computers, and if we can just send it into the grid, it'll go somewhere.
Probably
Okay.
be worth looking into.
Okay.
Alright, appreciate it, guys. Okay, where were we?
Kurt,
Kurt's
We're up to
next?
Kurt.
Alright.
John, did you have anything for yourself?
Okay, with the public hearing on the 11th, I was kind of planning on running the meeting, opening it as a open meeting with kind of the standard intro, Open Meetings Act, et cetera. I'm working on a presentation to kind of go through previous funding, where we're at, get some numbers out there for folks so they have a little better understanding of where we're at. You know, it's technically not a funding cut, it's just a lack of funds. But go over that with people so they understand where we are, and then break down what we're doing, what our plans are for
And
reduction.
why we need to do it, yeah.
Why we have to do it, and that it's, you know, your comments are welcome. There is a 10-day comment period after, so my thought was we could do a timer, limit 5 minutes during the meeting, and then because there is a 10-day window where they will have comment sheets people can take with them to submit, and then I have to get those all basically I have to respond to all those comments and questions. Again, most of it's just going to be ad nauseum. Here's why we're doing it, and if we don't do this, we will shut down. We did have a state board meeting today. We're putting together a list of questions for NDOT. Our association manager is going to compile those questions. Everybody's going to submit their questions. She's going to clean it up so we're not asking multiple questions. Forward that to NDOT. Just basically, we're looking for answers. You know, according to what I read, they're supposed to use no more than 10% of the allocated funds for their administration of the service. Those are the numbers that we want to see as a board, and then we want to reach out to some of these entities that may have an increased budget, and potentially reach out to them for voluntary cutbacks on their end, maybe put off an expansion if they had planned it, and see if those funds can be returned to be disseminated to those that are having to cut services. We're searching for anything we can. And so that's the plan for the meeting. Cedar County had one. She said nobody showed up. It's a small community, rural, where she's at, but we are offering free rides to anyone to and from if they want to come, as long as they book it in advance, and we can handle the capacity just so we encourage maximum participation for those folks that want to come and speak their mind, give their opinions, and ask their questions. But other than that, like I said, I'll try and put together a fairly simple slide deck with just bullet points on funding without getting too much in the weeds, but to hopefully help people understand a little bit better how our funding works and why we are where we're at.
The only thing that I see for Kelly's standpoint, of course, she has a concern about we're going to have a quorum here probably, and you'll have to let us know. I mean, I'm really happy if you, take care of the meeting, and if I'm and us sitting in the audience, as far as I'm concerned. But you have to take roll, I'm assuming.
I was just gonna publish that you might all be at the same
Because there
meeting.
will be no
That's all you
action.
As long as we don't take action.
There'll be no action taken until the 10-day comment period, and then that can be done at one of your regular meetings, where I
That's
will
good
I
with
will
me.
propose the changes to you as a board, and you will approve those changes.
I think it's great that you'll conduct the meeting and that we'll be in the audience.
I think that works
And,
fine.
yeah, I think that's good. But at
And if-
least
Jason,
we'll get to hear the comments, so.
I'm sure that's okay to do it that way, and then if
there's
there's
no
Yeah,
action
the
to be
way this
taken.
is set up with the 10-day comment period, there isn't gonna be any action taken, but I think publishing that is the way to go.
Yeah, and it's, the public notice has gone out twice in the paper, or will be again here. I don't know, maybe already has been for the second time. And then, like I said, once the meeting is over, we have a 10-day comment period. We have to respond to all those, and then at that point, then we can put together the resolution changing our operating hours. My plan is to try and word the resolution through June 30th, essentially subject to future changes if needed, if we're finding we're not dialing those expenses back fast enough to
Kurt,
prevent running
we
out of money.
published for 11/25 and 12/4.
Okay, so should be, the second publication will be
Be fine.
here in a couple days. So, But in the interim, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot them to me and I'll answer those. So if you wanna have a little more information prior to the meeting, I'll be glad to answer those for you. Other than that, everything's going relatively smoothly.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks, Kurt.
Anyone from the treasurer's office? Okay.
Mark was here.
Yeah,
Sheriff Overman
I
was
think,
here.
I seen
Oh,
him
he left?
leave. I think he's gone.
Okay.
So I'm assuming he doesn't have anything, Mark Overman. All right, here, Jason, do you have anything?
Nothing additional, thank you.
Okay, Lisa?
I have a few items. First off, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Regional governance was this week. Mark and I cannot attend, and I believe you're an alternate, Matt, for regional governance.
No. I
I
thought,
think
They got switched to,
what day is it?
Oh, it's Wednesday. Are you going
What
to our
is the-
meeting?
yeah, it's the employee, it's our employee
Employee appreciation dinner too.
recognition.
That's where I'll be at that.
You'll be
Yeah,
at that. That's
that's
why
where
we
all-
can't be there either.
Right.
Next,
I
the
assume all
next
of us
regional
are going to
governance
that.
will be December 7th and hosted by WNCC. So we'll get more information on that. I put it out there to see if I could get someone to take over the organization of that. Nobody's jumping up. So we'll see.
No jumpers, huh?
No jumpers right now.
Lisa's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, and it was done by my predecessor before me. It's a meeting of all entities in the valley that receive property tax. So, anyway, kind of fit into the role of the county to organize it, which is why it's always been here. Anyway, I had that, and you just mentioned in the employee appreciation dinner. And I wanted to note that next time at the next meeting, I'm going to put a agenda item to update the name of our personnel manual to Scotts Bluff County Personnel and County Procedures Manual, and bring forward those updates that we wanted to bring forward regarding rebates and the cards.
You have those put together, all of those?
Yeah, we took it to Personnel Committee and the decision was made that they are not the right group to decide that. So Jason and I have discussed the fact that if we can we update our manual and call it Personnel Manual and County Procedures, and procedures could be reviewed and approved by the commissioners and not have to go to Personnel Committee. That's my take and
Thinking
what
that'd
we're
be all
talking
right.
about doing, right?
Yeah, I think the idea that Lisa had, would there be a note that differentiates the types of things that need to go before the personnel board versus what doesn't, and but then to have everything located in a,
And then it also,
It's basically
has wider, jurisdiction, meaning it would include the, I'm gonna say elected officials and department heads. where
Yeah,
The personnel
yes.
policies technically don't.
Right, and it's our, the manual is already separated in this way. We do have the very back section is more tuned to the officials or supervisors.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. There
Very
you go.
good.
I think her thought with some of this was that if we signpost it a little clearer, it's gonna get rid of some of that confusion that's come up in the past.
Correct. So.
Okay.
There was that, and facilities manager, I'd posted that it would close today. We
How many
received
applications do we have?
2 internal and 2 external at this point. And Mr. Harris and I discussed before the meeting tonight if you were all okay that we would ask. He would be part of the group to interview and probably you.
I'd like to be part of that.
That's
If-
what, I
if
knew
the
you'd
others are okay.
expressed an interest and
Okay,
so
so,
I mentioned it to Lisa and so if only 2 of us can do it and then we're gonna have, of course, the same issue to interview the candidates for Lisa's position. And I think Ken needs to be on that, cause he's kind of the liaison for that, but then maybe one of you guys could be the second person.
I think you need to be the other one.
Well, I'm okay with that, again, I know it's still, I always say it's the kind of the top position in our, department head type people.
That's why you
And,
need to be there.
but so think about that and, well, I guess the question will be, will we start those interviews before 2 weeks from now?
I think we need to do them
On
pretty
your
soon.
position?
You can do them pretty soon. I mean, I posted a end date of December 8th, just try to get you a good pool. But, I mean, you could start some
good
this week
start.
and see if there's any overflow for next week. Cause right now I have one internal and two external on that. So, if you get, we
You
can,
have 2 extra on that.
we received another one today. We received one last week.
How long are you gonna run that, Lisa?
I said December 8th.
Okay, I guess you did.
Right.
But it doesn't mean we can't start getting it started.
We
So.
can start those interviews.
I don't see that's a problem if these guys are available, if you're okay with Ken and Mark.
Well,
Mark, what is
I
your
think
thought
I
about
would
you
be,
doing?
I was only helping, or wanting to help spread the process a little bit.
Well-
But I'm happy to do it only in the thought that it
Oh.
is one of the highest level positions, in my opinion, of the
Yes.
appointed staff,
I agree.
so.
Okay. So if I can work with the two of you for the facilities this week,
Absolutely. Let me know what you wanna do.
okay.
Yeah,
We'll
I
send,
know.
I'll get Kim to send off the applications to you both tomorrow for the facilities. And then
So
we
we
can
can-
probably schedule some interviews later in the week if you wanna meet with the people.
Maybe Thursday or Friday or what? 'Cause Monday, I've got meetings and all kinds of stuff this.
Yeah,
Monday,
I'll see you Wednesday so we can I'll see you Wednesday so I can kinda set up a date
Touch
with you.
base.
Maybe you just plan on Friday or something, give you a couple hours.
I think I'm okay Friday. I'll double check my calendar.
See
Does it
what
work
works
better
best.
for you later in the week?
I'll have to look.
Okay, that's that, and I was running through my old emails. I ran across one that I can't remember if we brought it up, but Matt Myers had sent you all an email October 1st regarding how much compensation comes into our community. Since he's been in that position, it's increased from 12.2 million in fiscal year 2021 to 17.8 in like the most in fiscal year 24.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing the
Well,
work
it's a
he's doing
40%
down there.
increase, that's pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
huge, right? So, and he, of course, the way Matt would do it is gives all the credit to his staff, and we know he works really hard as well, so.
The nice thing about that is it's not job driven, it's deserved benefits that veterans are receiving. So
Yeah.
nothing is taking place in our community to generate that, that's just extra funding coming in that's deserved.
Very, very true.
Good.
It's good for the economy.
That he coordinates, kind of.
Okay, that's all I wrote
There's
down.
there's three counties in Nebraska that have the highest, success in getting disabilities approved for the veterans. That's Scotts Bluff County, Lincoln County, and Douglas County.
Oh, really?
It's great.
You would
Good.
think Lancaster'd be up there.
Okay, so you say that's it?
That's all I have written
Okay.
down. Yes.
Russ?
I didn't have a lot. I've been getting some calls on rough roads. We have no moisture in our sand out there.
Yeah,
So the roads are rough and they're not blading a lot. They're, you know, only emergency stuff until we get some moisture, and then they'll be, you know, on it pretty hot and heavy. But, there's really not a lot they can do other than, you know, you get those big wallows or those big sand blowouts. They can put some gravel or rock in it and they're just, you know, just putting a Band-Aid on it right now until we get some moisture. And that's really about all I have. We've talked about everything else that I think I needed to talk about.
Mike?
I just have a, county housing authority meeting, tomorrow afternoon, that's about it so far.
Okay. So last week I had a Heartland Express Zoom meeting that went okay, and, Deb Cottier, who has been the, chairman of that group, she is resigning her position as the, what is it? North Nebraska Development Corporation, I think it's a economic development group, you know, based out of Shadron in the northern part of the Panhandle. She's resigning that position, but she is gonna continue on the Heartland Express, and she's been really good, for our organization. Annie, what's her last name? Flock, is it?
Folk?
Folk, yeah. She's the chair of that group, and she's really good as well. And, so, anyway, it's still, operational and meeting. Now our overall, attendance at those meetings hasn't been what we'd like, and we need to try and encourage more of the, appointed officials, to that group. We need to encourage them to attend. But, Deb has been really good at her job, and so, we're still getting some things accomplished, but, you know, everything we do with Heartland Expressway ultimately ends up tied to primarily federal funds, some state funds, but, primarily federal funds. And, so they're still trying everything they can to work on the federal, representative and senator delegation that represents the extended Heartland Expressway from North Dakota to Texas, and all those political people that are involved. But, yeah, it's been a long process, and it's still gonna be a long one, I think, so. I think that was the primary meeting I had last week. Matt?
Just a couple of things. So I met with Jordan Dietrich and Brenda Lacey. Placer AI, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Trying to discuss a way forward where the county and TCD can use that program, use that software. So it was a good meeting. I also attended. Was invited to attend the Links Alternative School for Gearing High School, and we had some city council members, and Ken Meyer and I both attended one of the meetings, and that was good. It was just fielding questions from these kids about government. So Visitors Bureau Strategic Planning Workshop is Thursday, starting at 8 o'clock, and I'll be going to that. That's it.
Back to that Placer AI, have they used that at all? Has that been, it's been in?
Oh yeah, it's been used, but it's pretty expensive, and it's going up. I think the county put in $15,000 for it, and it's.
But have we got any use out of it? I mean, some value. Have we got value?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's
And I think it's gonna get better. I think, we're learning how to use it, and how we can tie in, cities, cause right now, the city of Scotts Bluff is not, a member of TCD, and if they have access to the Placer AI, they should probably be paying for it. That's the thought.
Can you give me an example of how it's been beneficial to the county?
Well, when people come to events, say the Old West Balloon Fest, whatever, Placer AI can give us information as to where these people came from. When they leave this event, where do they go? Is it restaurants? Do they spend the night? And that kind of information
But
from
are we
tourism.
recording that, or are we compiling that, or what are we?
Yes.
Can somebody bring an example of that at some point, or show us an example?
Yeah,
You know, we voted for that, we approved all
right.
that,
And
but I've never seen any of it come forward that it's actually working. I mean, I'd like to
That's-
see what we bought.
It's my understanding too, Matt, maybe you can confirm or deny if I'm wrong, that, TCD is getting the bulk of the benefit and they allow the cities to use it for free. The county tourism use is, not as robust as what they're using it for, but yet we paid the lion's share of the
Well,
cost.
that's my question, how is it helping tourism?
Well,
I'm
I
sure
think
it does.
it's good to know where these people are coming, so you can advertise certain areas that you think can enhance the number of people that are coming. So if we know they're coming from, you know, the front range, then that's where we need to advertise and,
Are we doing that?
yeah, I think so. I'm still learning that, but yeah, I think we
We're
are.
only a few months into the,
Right.
getting the data and how we, no, it's not been a year, it's been 6 months.
Since we bought
Since we
into
bought it, yeah, so, and I know she said, I'm sorry, I'm gonna tell Brenda's side of the story too.
Okay.
Like after the balloon race, did you know the out-of-state vehicles where most of them went? Regional West Medical Center. So, we're questioning the data and the legitimacy of it.
What, how could that be?
Exactly.
Not a
That's
very
one
good
of the
restaurant
things
there.
that's what I'm,
They do have a restaurant better than that.
yeah.
That
So-
cafeteria is pretty good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty good. No, I really don't
I don't
think
know if
they
it's that
advertise
good.
it.
Yes.
Anyway,
that
that
big.
was some of the, I
Not
mean,
big
she'd
enough.
have to come and talk to us.
Huge
It's got
salad.
good stuff, but I mean, there's also some stuff that makes you go, I mean, so they follow a 970 area code, so they say people from Colorado are here, right? That's how this works.
That's the assumption.
That's the assumption. My daughter, who lives in Scotts Bluff, has a 970 area
gonna say,
code, so it's showing she's going somewhere, and she's not from Colorado anymore. It just happens to be her last number.
That's trouble cell phones there.
And I imagine there is a little bit of that. I know there is.
There's certainly some of that, percentage-wise, I think it would tell
Yeah,
us.
it should.
But there is,
There's gonna be
some
some
of it
things.
that, you know, you can't rely on that being 100% accurate. Because of, like you said, you can have a cell
And
phone with any
just to clarify, I'm
prefix.
pretty sure that Scotts Bluff, this city, does not have access to Placer AI because they're not a TCD
Okay,
member.
maybe
I
they,
think
okay,
Jordan, but we would like to get them
to share the.
to
Usually,
pay part of the 30,000, pay part of that, and then you have free access to it, just like we do. So that's kind of the plan going forward.
No,
so-
that makes sense.
That's all I have.
Okay. You got more?
No.
Oh,
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 I
you
did.
wanted to shut down here, aren't you?
I'm gonna throw out a quick comment too, cause I forgot to say it. Sorry, y'all. The federal money did not come through, and we had to scrounge to get payroll this month. So
And
if
you're-
that doesn't show up soon, we are in we have a problem.
And you're talking about the
The
money
detention
for,
center.
yeah, right.
We've been talking about this would be a problem, and it hit hard.
And sheriff's not here, but, I'm assuming you've been in touch with him on that?
Nope, I haven't, but
Okay.
we will be in touch with him.
All right, I'll try and, I talk to him maybe once a week, I'll try and mention it.
Okay.
All right, anything else
Do,
tonight?
just, do we have a contact person that you talk to as far as,
Over at the jail.
no, with whoever we're sending a bill to, I guess,
I
whoever
do not.
invoices- Who invoices the feds?
It's done at the detention center, and they have a, admin sergeant that handles
Are
it.
we sure that the invoices have gone out?
Oh, yeah.
Are we aware
I'm
of all
told
that?
that they
Yeah,
do.
she's been doing it for years.
Okay, but are we sure they went out? If they
That
go
would
through
be
the
worth
mail, they
checking.
might have not went out.
Yeah. No, they're electronic.
I think that, certainly it doesn't hurt anything for the sheriff to say, how we doing on this? Government's open again, where we
Yeah.
at, when will we get paid?
But
Right.
you know,
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah, that's
I
good.
agree with that.
And the thing is, with the government reopening, it still can take months for stuff to start flowing.
And
Yeah,
that's
I hope
kinda
so. That's
scary,
the
cause right
problem.
now, you had to borrow $1.2 million from the other funds, so that's pretty much strapping them,
Yeah.
so.
So, yeah, we need to have the sheriff, if he hasn't, I hope he already has, but I'll try and touch base with him on that as well, Lisa, but you probably should as well.
You suppose he could send us out an email or something, kind of work, just to touch on where we're at.
You bet. Let me know. We can do that.
Okay, I didn't ask anyone about any legislation. I know NACO's working on things for us, and that's always one thing that we can feel fairly confident in, is that they're looking out for a lot of the county's interest. But anyone else have anything on that? All right, anything else? Meeting's adjourned.
6:30, alright.
Thanks, everyone. I thought we might be done by 6:30. Barely gonna make
Only
it.
an hour longer than it needed to be.
You didn't do bad.
Yeah.